Hello, dear old friends that we have. Thank you very much. We have already 3,000 subscribers, which is wow. Thank you very much again. And hopefully this video will help you to decide if you want to make a company, for example, here in Romania, what to choose. Either LLC, meaning SRL, either PFA, meaning Sole Proprietorship. So I believe that everybody had this idea. Okay, I want to start on my own, but what should I choose? SRL or PFA? What kind of advantage do I have if I choose one or the other one? What disadvantages do I have by choosing one of them? If you will stay close to me in this video, you'll see that I will present advantages and disadvantages, and of course I will present also my personal opinion, because why not? It's an experience that I have, and maybe it will be helpful for you. So stay close and let's see. I know that we are already in April 2025, but it's important for you to know and to have a brief reminder about all the changes that took place here in Romania in 2025 for enterprises and PFAs. Let's start with SRL, because this one is more often to be encountered here in Romania. The main advantage of the SRL is limited liability to the share capital, which means that if something happens with your SRL, with your company, nobody can ask you to pay from your personal goods. You will be forced to pay with the social capital. Here in Romania, as you may know, the social capital is not so high. It's only 1 RON, but I would not recommend you to put 1 RON. Maybe it's better to have a little bit more. But the limited liability is the best that you can have. Another advantage is that an SRL is suitable for businesses that aims to grow, that wants to have employees, that wants to extend, that wants to have more than one office, or one office but more employees. This is for those businesses that tend to scale up. Of course, that on SRL it's quite easy to hire any employee, and you have no limit of employees. As long as you have funds to pay them, you have no limit. Regarding the activities that you may have on an SRL, again, there is no limit on this one as well. Another advantage is the fact that an SRL doesn't require any certifications. Basically, if you want to do something on IT, a business in IT, but you are, web developer, or you are just an accountant, you can do this, because when set up an SRL on IT field, you don't have to present any certifications for you personally on this field. Of course, that on SRL you have an advantageous tax system, which is 1% or 3%. Of course, both of them with one full-time employee. And after that, you can switch to 16% tax on profit. You will find a video about the tax system here in Romania on our YouTube channel. If you have any other questions, you may let it here in the comment area. And another advantage of the SRL is the possibility to access European funds. But let's have a close look to the disadvantages as well, because there are some disadvantages that should be taken into consideration. You have a lot of declarations to submit to fiscal authorities, which further means that you have to have an accountant. It's mandatory to have an accountant, because otherwise you cannot escape from this tax system and bureaucracy and so on. So it's mandatory from my point of view to hire an accountant here in Romania. And for this, we are, for example, a good choice because here on MBV, you may find all the services that you may need. Accounting, setting up of companies, accessing European funds. It's a hub with all these services. And another disadvantage, besides having so many declarations, would be higher cost when setting up. Because SRL requires more money in the beginning, but is not so high, the amount that you need. So this disadvantage may not be so high. Okay, good. And now let's start with the PFA as well, or sole proprietorship, to see what are advantages and disadvantages in this case. The PFA is suitable for small businesses, for liberal professions, and of course for independent activities. The initial costs for a PFA are much more lower than in the case of an SRL, and of course the administration costs are also less than in the case of a SRL. Why I'm telling you this? Because in case of a PFA, you don't need an accountant. If you are quite accustomed with numbers, you can calculate all these amounts by yourself, and you have to submit only one time a year the unique declaration in which you present all the incomes, the expenses, and from there on, you can see how much are the taxes. Regarding the accountant, in the case of a PFA, you don't need it until you become a VAT payer. If you will be above the ceiling of 60,000 euro, then you need to submit another declarations to fiscal authorities, which are 300 and 394. And in this case, my advice would be to have an accountant and not to submit it by yourself. Also, in the case of a PFA, taxes are much easier to be calculated, but they are significantly higher, which means that you have to pay 10% tax on income, you have to pay 10% health insurance, but this is sealed to 60 minimum salaries, and you have to pay pension 25%, but this is also sealed to 25 minimum salaries. So basically you will have to pay on a year around between 50 up to how much you will have as income for all these PFA incomes that you will have. So basically 50,000 RON, 10,000 euro. It's quite high, but depending on what are your plans, this is something that you need to take into consideration. Let's talk a little bit about the disadvantages of a PFA, and the number one on my top is the fact that it has unlimited liability, which means that in case that something happens, you will be responsible with your own goods, not only because you don't have share capital as in case of an SRL. So you should take a close look to this condition before taking the decision to make PFA or SRL. Also, you have limitations in case of activities that you may put, and in case of the employees that you want to hire on a PFA. And for sure, in case of the PFA, you will be needing some certifications to prove your experience in the field in which you set up that PFA. And in the end, unfortunately, local banks or European funds do not give grants or credits to PFAs. So you need to rely only on your own loans, only on your own budget. Now comes the question, what to choose in 2025 if you want to set up a new business? To answer to this question, I propose we look at what changes did happen since January 2025, and maybe this will be helpful to take a decision. The first and most important of all of them is the fact that the microenterprise threshold is going down from 500,000 euro to 250,000 euro, More than this, if you want to keep the microenterprise system also in 2026, you'll have to keep this turnover up to 100,000 euro, because in 2026, for example, if you want to be a microenterprise, it will be calculated taking into consideration the financials from 2025. If it's not so important for you, then in 2025 you may invoice as much as you need, but not more than 250,000 euro in order to keep 1 or 3% tax on income. And in 2026, just close the company, open a new one, and that's all. You tricked the system, let's say. Regarding 1 or 3%, I don't know if all of you know, but I want to point it out. You have 1% or 3% with one full-time employee, and 3% it's applicable in two cases. Either you are above the ceiling of 60,000 euro, and from that moment on you will switch from 1% to 3%. Either you have an activity that qualifies directly to 3% since the first cent that you invoiced, like health activities, IT activities, and there are some others you can find also on our YouTube channel. Additionally, because we are all entrepreneurs and we are all taking money from our companies to survive, which means that we took dividends. In this case, another important change, is the fact that the minimum salary here in Romania rose from 3,700 RON up to 4,050 RON, which means that in the moment that we take dividends out from the company, we'll have to pay also health insurance, and the health insurance is sealed at 24 minimum salaries, no matter how much higher the dividends are. For example, even if you take 100,000 euro as dividends or 1 million euro as dividends, the health insurance that you need to pay is the same, 9,720 RON if we calculate it at 24 minimum salaries. Another change that is in force since January 2025 is the fact that all companies, PFA, SRL, it doesn't matter, must report all the invoices that they issue on Romanian territory in the e-invoice system. This is mandatory. The advantage of a PFA in this case is the fact that it does not submit the SAFTE declaration, standard file audit for tax, which companies like SRLs are obliged to submit. Basically, we submit all the database from accounting in fiscal authorities servers in order to make audits anytime they want. And now, again, comes the question: how can I choose the right form for my own business? Simple. The answer depends on the purpose of your business and your future plans. Therefore, choose SRL if you want to expand quicker your business, if you want to take funds, European funds, if you want to access any type of credit, if you want to hire employees and have no limited activities that you may put on there. This is the simplest choice that you can make. And choose PFA if you work in a liberal profession, if you don't want too many headaches, if you want to keep it simple. But don't forget, in case of a PFA, you respond with your own goods. In the case of an SRL, you don't respond with your own goods. So the decision, it's up to you. And now, if you are not sure what to choose, don't forget that here in MBV Tax, we can help you with all your decisions. So don't forget to write us on our email office.mbv-tax.ro or to leave a comment here in the comment area. I don't know, you have on our website also the phone number. You may call us because we are from 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. at the office. You have a lot of possibilities to contact or get in contact with us. So we are waiting all your questions. Thank you very much. Please subscribe and stay close for another video regarding all the taxes here in Romania.